The divorce bill, why do we have to pay it? What is it? Isn't this just punishment? What's the extra money for? Let's take a moment to explain it all. You may know that the EU 27 position is, first of all, we do the divorce, the proper Article 50 stuff, which includes this divorce bill, of approximately 50 billion, and then we can do the trade deals. Liam Fox and Boris Johnson and now Theresa May are indicating that they don't believe we should pay any bill. And so that prompted Juncker to say no payment, no trade deal, which prompted hardline Brexiteers on our side to say, fine, then no trade deal, we'll go it alone. So the rhetoric is already being ramped up, but let's take a moment to approach this pragmatically. What is this so-called divorce bill? What happens if we don't pay it or can't agree on an amount? And then what's the best way to actually get it sorted? So this bill is not extra money or punishment money or mechanism for keeping us in. It is simply settling up the assets that we share and the financial commitments that we have made together. Let's break it down into 4 parts: pensions, liabilities, assets, and budget contribution. With pensions, EU employees in their civil service, when they retire, need pensions. We do this for our civil service and we have a shared responsibility to those. So the question becomes whether we pay our fair share in terms of proportion or whether we pay just for the UK citizens that have been working in the Commission. The latter would be a lesser amount, and whether we pay this liability up front, 5 to 10 billion is the estimate, or whether it's just a rolling cost. Secondly is liabilities. So with the EU, while we were in the EU, we agreed certain liabilities. For example, with Ukraine defaulting on loans to the EU. So there are various trigger circumstances which we've signed up to help step in with. Now, do we want to settle that with a lump sum, or do we just want to continue those liabilities that we had before? Thirdly, with assets, the EU has got about 23 billion in assets. Our share of that is about 3 billion, but that's some money that would then come back to us. And then fourthly, the big one is budget contributions. Now, the EU has a budget, a multi-annual financial framework that we all pay into, and the current one runs from 2014 to 2020. And the whole pot of money is a cool 1 trillion euros. Now, do we want to continue paying it until 2020 and wrap it up nice and tidily, or do we want to try and make a break now? Remember that this whole budget breaks down into different areas, some which we benefit from more than others. So it's about 6% administration, 2% security, 6% foreign policy, 13% research and innovation, 34% structural funds, 39% on agriculture. So some of those will want to continue more than others. With our own area, research and innovation, yes, we want to continue paying in, but we may not be allowed to do it on the same terms that Switzerland and Norway are, because they pay in X amount and they get back a lot more. If we were to do that on our scale, that would really strain the whole system. So we'll probably be asked to pay more. And remember, structural funds are a counterbalancing of that. So as we drain the brains and the finances in our research and innovation leadership, so we have been so far trying to replenish that in some areas of the EU by investing in their future research and innovation capacity. So you can see the complexities that are going to be had there. What happens if we don't agree? Well, usually this would get sorted out by the European Court of Justice. But if we're saying hard Brexit, we don't respect the European Court of Justice, then it would naturally go to the International Court of Justice to sort out. And it would still there not be clear by the current terms in the Vienna Convention whether we are liable for the commitments that we made up front, or whether we are released from all treaty obligations at the point of break. It's not actually clear. So it really does need to get sorted politically, because time is of the essence too. The best way to get it sorted is to just sort it quickly, because that's what the other 27 countries are saying, including Ireland and the Dutch and the Danes, you know, reasonable, sensible people here are just saying, let's get this bit sorted first. So let's do it. What's the best way to do it? Well, I think the European Commission should provide the itemised list in a format that's useful for the British people to see what has been invested in and why, what future investments are needed and what they'll return, and so forth and so on. So we can almost, to a degree, pick and choose about what is most urgent for us and what are the consequences of paying or not paying into those different streams, and work it out that way. Involve the public, include the public with a big explanatory drive. And the UK government needs to do the same as well. Instead of getting on board with the tabloids and saying we won't be bullied by Brussels and giving it large and all this stupid rhetoric, we paint ourselves into a corner. Our government needs to help explain what this is. It needs to push back on the tabloid press about this, because this is about important pragmatics here. The danger, the real danger, is that we are now in election season, and so going through the nitty-gritties of explanations might not be May's political choice. However, if she does get in bed with the tabloids and blows hot and dramatic about how we won't be bullied and so forth and so on, when the election is over, she will either have to climb down or stick to her rhetoric, which has very damaging effects for the UK.